Tandaan ninyo, walang pwedeng susunod na mamumuno ng ating bansa sa mga kandidato ngayon maliban kay Vice President Leni Robredo. Siya lang ang katanggap-tanggap na kandidato na pwedeng pagtiwalaan ng taong bayan. Lahat yan trapo na. Lahat yan magpapagamit lang sa administrasyon. Pagkatapos ng eleksyon, kung hindi natin tutulungan si Vice President Leni Robredo, bay mga kaibigan, pupwesto rin niya mga yan. Tandaan ninyo yan. Katulad lang yan ng nangyari sa panahon ni dating Pangulong Marcos. Malayo pa yun, sinasabi na ni Senador Benigno Aquino Jr. ang mangyayari. Sila Pacquiao, alam nyo, yung mga ibang kandidato na sinasabi nga natin, Manchurian candidate yan. Hindi yan maglilingkod para sa taong bayan kung hindi. Maglilingkod yan sa interes ng China at interes ni Digong. Ang gagawin nila kung bakit marami silang tatakbo, para hatiin ang boto ng mamamayan. Para konti lang ang kailanganin, pwede nang magpresidente. Kanila ang presidency. Pero yan ay hindi mangyayari kung ang taong bayan ay magkakaisa. Itong mga kandidatong dito, mapatutunayan lamang nila na sila ay magsisilbi sa interes ng taong bayan kung ang layunin nila talaga ay para sa kapakanan, interes ng bansa at ng mamamayan. Isa lang naman ang choice nila. Ang ipaubaya ang presidency kay Vice President Leni Robredo at isang tabi nila ang kanilang personal na hangarin. Di ba nababanggit nga natin sa inyo? Kung si dating Vice President Doy Laurel ay naging makasarili at hindi siya pumayag na magbisi na lang kay dating Pangulong Cory Aquino, walang mangyayari nun sa oposisyon. O ano mangyayari ngayon kung hawak na nilang lahat? Aba, di ba yung binabanggit sa konstitusyon na lahat ng kapangyarihan ay nagmumula sa taong bayan. Mga kaibigan, yun ang nangyari pagkatapos ng eleksyon noong 1985, mga kaibigan. Nanaig ang kapangyarihan ng taong bayan laban sa lahat ng tanggapan ng gobyerno. Kahit Korte Suprema, walang nangyari sa kanila. Bakit? Kasi ginamit ng taong bayan ang kanilang kapangyarihan. Lahat ng kapangyarihan nagmumula sa taong bayan. Mababaliwala ang kalokohan, mga kaibigan. Kahit na magsabuatan pa lahat yan, walang magagawa yan. Pero ang unang dapat ipakita, kamukha yung nangyari sa panahon nung snap election, malaking boto ang itinambak ng taong bayan kay Pangulong Cory Aquino, mga kaibigan. Kaya walang nagawa dahil ang kapangyarihan talagang nasa mamamayan. Paano yan? Hawak nila ang COMELEC, hawak nila yan. Kanya kailangan manindigan ng taong bayan. At ang taong bayan, wala nang pupuntahan si Pacquiao at yung ibang kandidato, magpapanggap lang sila. Na kunyari gusto, nagsisimba pa nga yung iba di ba? Kumukuha raw ng guidance. Akala mo nakakausap ang itaas kung makapagsalita Akala mo pagka nagsimba hingi ng patnubay. Akala mo tapos biglang magdideklara na, tatakbo na ako. Humingi na ng patnubay. Akala mo nakausap na niya eh. Mga kaibigan eh. Oh, di ho ba? Akala mo sila lang ang nakakausap eh. Hindi naman totoo yun. Patno-patnubay. Ano lang nila yun? Arte lang nila yun. Mga kaibigan. Hindi ho ba? Wala na silang pupuntahan. Itong nangyaring ito sa loob ng mahigit 5 taon, alam ba ninyo? Sakaling magbago ang administrasyon at mawala na sila, alam nyo ang unang-unang problema natutugunan ng susunod na administrasyon. Halimbawa, si Vice President Leni Robredo ang nanalo. Mga kaibigan, ang una niyang problemang dapat tugunan, magkaroon ng debriefing ang publiko. Magkaroon ng programa para sa debriefing ng publiko. Alam niyo kung bakit? Very traumatic ang nangyari sa mga mamamayang Pilipino. Hindi ba yung mga nagiging biktima ng mga karahasan? Binibigyan niya ng debriefing kasi merong may trauma eh. Di ba? Na inabot. Yung mga biktima ng kung ano-ano, rape, iba't ibang karahasan, dumadaan yan sa debriefing. Ngayon, wala na yan eh. Inalis na yan eh. Hindi katulad dati. Merong mga initiative na ganyan. Iyan ang kailangan gawin pagkatapos na manumbalik, harinawa, manumbalik ang katarungan, ang demokrasya dito sa ating bansa. Napilit nilang idinidisenyo. Di ba yan din yung mga ginagawang manipulasyon ngayon? Federalismo, puro panlilito. Di ba? Hindi totoo yan. Si Marcos, pabago-bago rin ang sinasabi, di ba? Pagka hindi na bagay sa kanya yung batas, magsasalita ng sarili niyang batas. Siya gagawa ng sarili niyang batas na ipapatupad. Mga kaibigan, baliwala ang taong bayan. At ang una niyang ginawa binusog yung military. Kaya nga, ganun ang nangyari. Ganun din ang ginagawa ngayon. Kaya ang tawag, military ko. Pinakakainkuhan niya ng pera yan. Military ko. Ayan po, mga kaibigan. Yun lang ang pwede nilang gawin. Ang maglipat ng suporta kay Vice President Leni Robredo. Otherwise, wala nang pag-asa itong ating bansa. Para na lang nating ipinabigay at tinatanggap, mga kaibigan, itong mga katarantaduhang nangyari. Higit sa lahat, para na rin tayong nagsuko ng ating karapatan sa pagmamay-ari sa West Philippine Sea ng ating mga teritoryo. Yan ang pinakamatindi sa lahat. Mawawalan tayo ng identity bilang mga Pilipino. Nandito na sila mga kaibigan. Oras na sino man sa kanila, sa mga patatakbuhin nila o sila mismo, ang muling mauupo sa 2022. Tapos na ang laban. Mga kaibigan, hindi pa ba ninyo napapansin o nahahalata kung ano yung ginagawa ng Chinang pagpapatakbo sa kanilang bansa? Yun din ang estilo ng pagpapatakbo na ginagawa ng administrasyon ni Digongyo.
Walang preno kung bumatikos, malalim at makatwirang komentaryo. Mag-ingat ang mga politikong gumagawa ng kalokohan at baka kayo ay tamaan ng Rapid Fire!
Sayang ito na mapapakinggan Lalo na yung hindi inabot si Senador Benigno Aquino Jr. at saka tayong mga hindi pa nakakaunawa binanggit naman niya rin yan dyan, mga kaibigan, tayong hindi pa natin naiintindihan ng mga issue dahil nung panahon ng martial law hindi naman patas ang impormasyong nakakarating sa taong bayan, kamukha ngayon, di ba? Ito, pakinggan natin.
You very well know that we have a law in the Philippines that says no president may stay in the presidency for more than 8 consecutive years. That is a law. That is a law even ahead of the United States law. No president may stay for more than 8 years. In 1972, Mr. Marcos was already 7 years in office. He had 1 year to go. He was toying with the idea of fielding Imelda, but Imelda showed very poor in the polls. So what did Mr. Marcos do? Change the Constitution, sabi niya. So he called the Constitutional Convention in 1970. We were a handful in the Senate who denounced this, and I told the Senate, we should not allow an open Constitutional Convention because it's very dangerous. Even America, I said, has never called the Constitutional Convention since 1776. They have amended their Constitution piecemeal, but they never opened it. But we lost, and a Constitutional Convention was called. People were elected. And very quietly, Mr. Marcos started maneuvering to change our form of government from an American-type presidential system to a British-type parliamentary so that he can be elected as a deputy from Ilocos, become prime minister, and then stay on forever. That was the plan. However, on January 2, 1972, most of you are already here in America. Some of you maybe were too young to remember. But on January 1972, almost 9 years ago today, an old man, a retired ambassador from Leyte, his name is Eduardo Quintero, who is now in San Francisco, stood up on the floor of the Constitutional Convention and shocked the entire Filipino people with the expose that Malacanang has been giving envelopes to members of the Constitutional Convention, buying their votes so that they will vote for a parliamentary form of government to allow Mr. Marcos to extend his term beyond the 8 years. The nation was shocked. Immediately the NBI swooped down into the house of Quintero, and then they opened up an aparador, walang susi, and they said 500,000 pesos in cash were found in the aparador of Quintero. The implication was the opposition gave him 500,000 to make his expose. But if there were 500,000, bakit walang susi yun? Hindi naman 50 pesos lang yun. To cut a long story short, a delegate from Cebu, his name is Napoleon Ram, stood up on the convention floor and said, "Wag na tayo magtalo. Let us not discuss who received or who did not receive. I am now filing a resolution that will provide, if we approve this constitutional convention, this constitutional amendment, this new constitution, no incumbent president or his spouse may seek office." Out sa kulumbo si Mr. Marcos. Sa takot ng mga delegado, because they will be accused if they voted no, that they received the envelope, everybody voted yes. Nalagot si Mr. Marcos. This Rama resolution was overwhelmingly passed. Mr. Marcos and Imelda Marcos are out of the running. So what will Mr. Marcos do? Hindi na pwede sa 1935 Constitution. Hindi na po pwede dito sa bagong Constitution. The only reason left, or the only excuse and the only option left for Mr. Marcos is to declare martial law. And so what happened? The students demonstrated in the streets. Sabi ng agent ni Marcos, sige pa, dagdagan pa nyo. More demonstration in the street. Sige pa. Finally, bombings started in Manila. And did you know, my friends, the Manila police captured one of the bombers. And one of these bombers in Manila was identified as a sergeant of the firearms and explosives section of the Philippine Constabulary. The following day, this man was snatched from the Manila police and we never heard from him again. And then, on September 23, midnight, Mr. Marcos went on television and said, "I, Ferdinand Marcos, acting as Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Philippines, by virtue of the provision of the Constitution which states, in case of invasion, insurrection, rebellion, or imminent danger thereof, I may declare martial law or suspend the writ of habeas corpus. Therefore, I now declare martial law and shall administer this country alone." On that day, democracy died. And so Mr. Marcos arrested together with us in the Senate most of the leaders of the Constitutional Convention. All of those opposing him went to jail with us. And then when they went to jail with us, all the other members of the convention were herded and they were given a constitution by Mr. Marcos and they were told to sign. And everybody signed, except those in jail with us. And once the this new constitution was signed by them, he released the delegates. And then, on January 17, 1973, Mr. Marcos went on television and said, "Ladies and gentlemen and my countrymen, there is now a new constitution." But how can we have a new constitution? There was no plebiscite. You know that the law says before you can have a new constitution, you must present it to the Filipino people, and the Filipino people must, in a secret ballot, write yes or no. What happened? Tinawag ni Mr. Marcos sa mga citizens assembly. Tinawag niya mga barrio councils. And then in the middle of this meeting, tinanong, "Kayo ba'y gutom na?" "Yes." "Taas ang kamay." "Taas." Lahat ng tabas. "Approve ang konstitusyon." My friends, this is not fiction. Because in the now famous Habiliana case, Habiliana versus Executive Secretary, a gentleman by the name of Mr. Habiliana went to the Supreme Court and questioned the illegality of this Constitution. And what did the Supreme Court say? Out of 10 justices, 6 out of 10 said this Constitution was not validly ratified. According to the 1935 Constitution and according even to the new Constitution, it was not validly ratified. But then the Supreme Court added, but there is nothing to stop it. So, we had a Constitution. And so, my friends, we started with an American-type Constitution. We moved to a British-type Constitution. We had a parliamentary form of government without a parliament. Until 1978, we did not have a parliament. And yet, we were supposed to be a parliamentary form of government. And Mr. Marcos said, "I declared martial law to save democracy." But by saving democracy, he killed it. And so, my friends, it was not until 1978 that the Batasan was convened. Now what do we hear? Mr. Marcos, once again, is up again to his new tricks. He said, "I lifted martial law, but I think we should now elect a president by direct vote." But there is no such thing. Under the new constitution now, the president is purely ceremonial. Tigabukas lang ng pinto, tagatanggap lamang ng credential ng ambassador. Purely ceremonial, elected by parliament. He's not elected by the people. The power of the government under a parliamentary system rests on the prime minister, and the prime minister must be elected by parliament, and this prime minister may be removed from office if there is a vote of no confidence. That's the British type. So what did Mr. Marcos do in 1976? He amended the constitution and said, "I, Ferdinand Marcos, as Prime Minister, President, may dissolve Parliament, but Parliament cannot dissolve me." And then he said, "Parliament may legislate, but if I think they're not doing their job, I will also legislate." So now we have two parliaments, Mr. Marcos and Parliament. And it's costing us 300 million to have that tuta parliament. And what's the use? If Mr. Marcos is doing all the legislation, why keep these 200 guys? So what do? They change the name of the street of Divisoria. They change the name of a school, but when it comes to public decrees like Public Order Code 1737, only Mr. Marcos signs it. And so we have a situation where we have a man who can dissolve Parliament, but Parliament cannot dissolve him. And under the Amendment number 6 of the 1973 Constitution, Mr. Marcos is a president for life. And now, all of a sudden, 2 weeks ago, sabi niya, "I have lifted martial law, but I now want to go to the Filipino people and I want their mandate of 8 years. I will defend martial law. Anybody who's opposed it can oppose me. I want to go to the people and get their mandate." But how can you get a mandate? There's no such thing in the Constitution. Sagot ni Marcos, "Let us amend it." So now we're going to amend again the Constitution. And so we asked Mr. Marcos, "But what form of government will we have?" Sabi niya, "I want a president with powers." What happened to the parliamentary type British? Forget it. Let us now go to France. Let us have a French model. And so, my friends, it is like the Odyssey of Jules Verne, 80 days around the world. We started with America, we went to England, now we're going to France. Under the new proposal of Mr. Marcos, we will now have a president and a prime minister. But the prime minister will be appointed by the president. And this president now will be all-powerful. It will not be the American type, it will be the French type. And I suppose 2 years from now, when he gets tired of that, he will go to the Russian type, whatever that is. And so he announced, I will take anybody, including Aquino. And so, I was not inclined to oblige him, but then he added, pero sabi niya, hindi pwede si Aquino underage. And so naturally, I went to the books. I said, how come I am underage? I thought I was already 48. Because the rule before, to become president of the Philippines in 1935, all you had to do is to be 40 years old. And so I looked at the book. Tama nga naman si Marcos. They've increased the age to 50. Kapos na naman ako ng dalawa. Of course, Mr. Marcos said, pero kung talagang gusto niya Aquino, if he really wants to come home and to fight me, I will oblige him. I will also have the Constitution amended for him.
Napakinggan po ninyo mga kaibigan kung paano minanipula yung pong konstitusyon ng Pilipinas. Ngayon lang natin naunawaan lahat yan eh. Di ba? Kung mabuti na lamang, nandyan yung mga video na yan, ano ho, available para mapakinggan nating lahat. Totoo naman lahat yung sinabi ni dating Senador Benigno Aquino. Kung hindi po nagkaroon ng kung hindi siya napatay, hindi magigising ang taong bayan, mga kaibigan. Ngayon, ang sa atin ho, antayin ba nating mangyari pa yon? Magkakaroon tayo ng eleksyon. Nagsasama-sama ang mga walang hiyang politiko, di ba? Sa panig ng kasalukuyang administrasyon. Bakit nila ginagawa yan? Sapagkat iniisip nila na ang administrasyon, bukod sa kwarta, pondo, hawak nito, kontrolado nito ang mga pwedeng magmanipula ng eleksyon. At kapag natapos ang eleksyon ay pwedeng kontrolado pa rin ang Korte Suprema. Kita ninyo yung binanggit ni Senador Aquino, yung ratification ng kung paano minanipulate, yung ratification ng konstitusyon na ginawa ni Marcos, na pinapirmahan sa mga delegado ng Constitutional Convention. Mga kaibigan, binago nila kasi yung ginawa ng Constitutional Convention na original, wala nang pwedeng makatakbo kay Marcos, kay Imelda, out sila. Kaya ang ginawa, nung nag-martial law, pinahuli yung mga delegado na tutol kay Marcos, yung mga gumawa mga pumirma ron, nakapasa yun eh. Pagkatapos, ay itinira yung mga kanya at pinapirma yung mga delegado ng Constitutional Convention doon sa ibinigay nilang binago, revised na version ng konstitusyon. Pagkatapos, wala namang parliament. Parliamentary yung ginawa na pinapirma ni Marcos, pero wala namang parliament na nangyari. Walang naihalal. Until 1978, from 1973, isipin ninyo, ang layo ng agwat. Hindi naman naisakatuparan yung parliamentary form of government. Di ba? Hanggang 1978 lamang tayo nagkaroon, naghalal ng mga kinatawan. Puro kanila pa yon, mga kaibigan. So, ang babala ni Ninoy Aquino, nagumpisa yan, senador pa siya. Nung itayo ang Constitutional Convention, tinututulan ng Senado niya. Pero wala silang nagawa. Naitatag yung Senado. Nilagay pa ang presidente niya ni Marcos dyan, di ba? Yung tatay ni Gloria, si Diosdedo Macapagal. mga kaibigan. Ngayon, ang sa atin po, antayin ba natin na mangyari yan? Ay, kaya nga nagsasama-sama yung mga mandurugas na politiko dyan, di ba? Sila-sila rin.
Sa bayan ko ay isa ang lahi, dito'y wala ang pagkukunwari. Hindi padagay, sadyang kilala sa daigdig, may pagkakaisa sa bawat nais.
Magandang gabi, Sikwatari Ramon Lopez.
Mahal sa'yo, ang bayan ko'y punong-puno ng yaman. Bakit ito'y kailangan pang iwanan? Hindi nga ba't anong sarap mabuhay ng buong ganap sa bayan mo, sumapit lang yaong wakas. Dito sa bayan ko, lahat kami pantay-pantay, walang nang-aabit, ang pag-ibig ay tunay. Dito sa bayan ko, dito'y makikilala mo ang mga kaibigang nagmamahal sa'yo. Dito sa bayan ko, lahat kami pantay-pantay, walang nang-aapit, ang pag-ibig ay tunay. Dito sa bayan ko, dito'y makikilala mo ang isang kaibigan, ang mga kaibigan, ang bawat kaibigan na totoong